Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits. It has been a crazy Thursday, so I missed you guys yesterday, but still, we got some things going on here that we need to talk about because there's something odd going on here. And I know that a lot of people are starting to talk about it or have been talking about it since yesterday. Of course, unfortunately, I was only able to give you guys the breaking news first thing in the morning because yesterday was kind of a busy day. But we do have a lot of questions that still need to be answered, still have not been answered, revolving around this mysterious demise of Gene Hackman. Of all things, is this foul play? Is this not? Could this be carbon monoxide poisoning? Could it be any of those kind of things? What's really going on here? We got to talk about that and then some. So do me a favor. Before we get into everything, all right, do me a solid. Very simple. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. That'd be great. All right. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you hit that follow button on those platforms because I'm on there. Make sure you subscribe here on my main channel on YouTube. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there because there's a lot of things that I'm talking about over there that I'm not talking about over here and vice versa. So make sure you're subscribed to both channels, okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, do not forget, check out pascalmerch.com, okay? Check it out. There's some really great stuff over there. I guarantee you. You're going to find something you're going to love over there, okay? All right, guys, we got to get into this, okay? Can't be on forever today, but we're here for a conversation nonetheless that we need to have. Now, if you guys don't know what's going on here, actor Gene Hackman was found gone in his home, okay? With his wife, who also lost her life. She was found gone, and one of their dogs was found gone too. Now, there's a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of questions circling around being like, hey, what actually happened here? Why? What's going on here? Why did this happen? Is there foul play going on here? Is it not? What's going on, right? Now, here's the thing. The details that we've heard so far are a bit odd. In fact, yeah, it is very suspicious. It doesn't make any sense, especially the details in which of where their bodies were actually found throughout the property, which is very interesting. Then also another piece, because when I first broke the story yesterday morning on the random breaking news video that I put up, just announcing his passing and his wife's passing and his dog's passing, there was information that we didn't have quite yet. So we still are trying to find out more information. But what's weird about this is that they were found in the home and they were gone they had passed weeks. So much that parts of his wife's body mummified. Okay. Now that is really interesting. Okay. But the one thing that I found to be even more interesting, not only just how they were found and how it took weeks for them to actually be found, which is obviously devastating and terrible. The second part is the fact that 2 dogs are still alive. Yeah. So there was a dog that was found that lost its life, right? That dog was found in the bathroom closet. Perished. You have the wife, she perished. Then you have the Gene Hackman, he had perished as well. So instantly we think, well, if there was no foul play, if they see no foul play, this must be something with carbon monoxide, which is also a silent monster. Okay. And I highly recommend you guys, especially, well, everyone should, but especially my older viewers, okay? My older members of this family, please. I repeat, please go get one of those detectors, one of those carbon monoxide detectors. Make sure you have that installed in your home, okay? Because it is really a silent monster, all right? It is taking people's lives, etc. You don't know if you're just slowly getting poisoned in this kind of way. So please do that. But here's the thing. What's interesting is, okay, because I saw some of this right before we got started. What's interesting about the carbon monoxide, they're now saying, well, there are others, not elected officials, I'm sorry, law enforcement, okay? They are now they're going, we're not ruling it out. They're now saying that they're not ruling out. And we're going to look at that here in a second, too. Like I said, there's a lot of updates. There's a lot going on, but this is a very weird thing. All right. And again, door was cracked open in the home. Okay. The wife was found gone with pills strewn all about. Then, of course, he was found in the mudroom. He must have collapsed and fell to the ground. You have a dog that lost its life, found unalive in the closet of a bathroom. But 2 other dogs are still alive. So 2 questions I have in my mind, okay, which we are going to get to. I don't want to get too much into my theory stuff quite yet. Let's just get into the information first, right? Let's get into what we know right now about everything. And of course, we're going to find out more stuff, okay? And from my understanding, Richie Ruggs, that's a good question. What is a mud room? From my understanding, that is like the room between the garage to the basically like the kitchen or into the main part of the house. So that's the place where you could take your shoes off, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Some people have mud rooms where that's where they have their laundry room as well. You see what I'm saying? So that's like kind of the spot where you walk in from the garage or from outside, and that's the area where you can take your shoes off, that kind of thing. And then you go into that next room, right? So that's what a mud room, from my understanding, that's what I feel what a mud room really is. Okay. So he was literally found in that area. Okay. She was found in another room. 2 dogs were found, okay, alive. One of them was found gone. Now, there is a possibility of there being some sort of carbon monoxide situation. That's still a possibility, I believe, because it's so odd how they were found and then the other dogs aren't gone. But here's my theory. And this is a wild theory, so ride with me, okay? And we're going to be rocking with a lot of different theories, all right? I'm going to say it now. My theory is this, and I could be absolutely 110% wrong here. And of course, no matter what happened here is absolutely devastating. All right. This was a very highly decorated, extremely talented actor in all that. Right. And also a very talented pianist as well. His wife. OK. Concert pianist, Betsy Arakawa. OK. Now, what I think could have possibly happened is maybe she found him and he had perished. Her mind was not in the right place. She ran and took pills to, meet him on the other side. And maybe in the throes of passion, she took these pills. They strewned all over the floor. And you know how we all have that one. For us dog owners, okay, we all have that one dog that will just eat anything, right? So my thought is that maybe Dogs started eating those things up off the ground. And then that dog perished too. Went into a area in the maybe his favorite place to sit, because you know how it is. Some dogs, animals do this, even cats. They'll go to that favorite place, right? They go to their favorite place and then they'll perish in that place. So maybe that's what happened. Dog started feeling not so good and then went into his favorite place, which is like the closet of this bathroom, curled up and perished. Maybe that's what it is. Like I said, this is a very, very this is just me shooting from the hip here, theory. And I could be absolutely wrong, right? So again, something seems to be weird. Then it's like, okay, if he was found in this closet of this bathroom, now I know some of you guys are saying he was found in his kennel. Was he locked up in his kennel? Was he not locked up in his kennel? Do you see what I'm saying? So, or if it was in the closet of this bathroom, was he locked up in the bathroom? Because if he was locked up in the closet of this bathroom, that tells you something's up. Either she locked him in there and then she went to do her thing, but then why would she let that dog be locked up, but the other two are found alive? You see what I'm saying? So again, certain things are just not mathing, okay? And, when it comes to mummified, it's not like they wrapped her up like she was King Tut or something like that, right? It's just basically saying that there was a very much some type of deterioration that had already set in on her remains. That's basically what it is. It's not like you walk in and you're like, whoa, why is she suddenly swaddled up, right? That's not what they mean, right? But let's get into this. Let's take a look at this article here. We got some videos. We got some updates. We got to get into this, okay? But please do me a favor. Again, guys, hit that like button down below. Hit it, crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you can. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, guys? We're going to try to get down to the bottom of this and try to figure some things out here. And Mimi, thank you so much for the love. All right, I really do appreciate the support. So let's get into this, okay? So again, a lot of this, I'm still trying to make sense of this whole thing. When I left that video, when I posted that video, I did not know this was going to turn into a whole. I didn't know this was going to turn into this snowball effect of just WTF. You see what I'm saying? So this is terrible, and terrifying and heartbreaking at the same time, because God only knows. This could be foul play. This may not be foul play. Why? And again, if it is foul play, why would anyone do this to a 95-year-old man and a loving, doting 65-year-old wife? Right? It's just ridiculous. I just, if this is foul play, may this person rot. Okay, or people. If there is foul play, but I don't know if there is, right? So legendary Hollywood actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found unalive in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home Wednesday, prompting investigation and investigating officials to call their demise suspicious. So their bodies were found in separate rooms, okay, according to Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. One of their dogs was also found unalive, which we already know about, okay? We already know that he was a highly decorated actor from all kinds of big movies, all right? The French Connection, which is a classic, okay? Unforgiven, which is a classic. Hoosiers, by the way, okay? In my personal opinion, one of the first, sport underdog movies, you know what I mean? In my mind, one of the first to ever be made in my mind, okay? Growing up, all right? First real sport movie I feel like every kid watched, all right? He's a part of some really big classic movies, right? And of course, she was also a classical pianist as well, right? So here's what they know about these deaths, okay? So how did they pass? They say it remains unclear how they passed, and officials are looking into the circumstances. Okay. The sheriff's office said Thursday afternoon that it has not determined a cause of demise. Officials have said no signs of foul play are apparent, and an autopsy found no external trauma to either Hackman or his wife, Arakawa. So, toxicology and carbon monoxide tests were requested for both, and results are still pending, according to the sheriff's office. All right. Now, what's weird is that we're going to hear a couple things from some professionals and them giving us their 2 cents on the carbon monoxide theory, which is what I think it was. I think it was carbon monoxide poisoning. I do believe that. I lean on that more than anything else, but it could be a combination of two things. Two things could be true at the same time, right? But God only knows, right? So Santa Fe City Fire Department did not find signs of a carbon monoxide leak or poisoning, according to an affidavit for a search warrant, and New Mexico Gas Co. found no evidence indicating there was a problem with the pipes in and around the house. By the way, so that's crazy, okay? Crazy that they're sitting there going, okay, they're looking into the whole possibility of carbon monoxide, but then we're looking at it and they're doing their due diligence and there's no signs of leakage. So what the hell's going on here? Which resorts back to the other theory I had before, okay, which is possible, but maybe it's wrong, So circumstances surrounding the demise of two deceased individuals to be suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation. That's what it said, according to the affidavit. So they were both found Wednesday afternoon after someone called 911 to report their remains, their bodies. Sheriff Mendoza said Thursday the couple had been gone for quite a while. They had lost their lives and they had been in that home for weeks. Okay, some of the reports say weeks, y'all. A pest control worker was at the residence Wednesday and noticed the couple were not at home, which was apparently unusual. The worker contacted a security officer in the subdivision who went to the house and discovered the couple inside. This is what Mendoza said. A man who described himself as a caretaker of the subdivision called 911 to report the bodies, according to the call audio. He said that the door was locked and that he could not go inside, but that he saw them through the window and they were not moving. Two maintenance workers said they found the couple's front door ajar when they went to check on the residence, and that's what they said, according to this affidavit. Santa Fe County deputies, quote unquote, did not observe any signs of forced entry into the home, according to the affidavit. Interesting, right? So you got one person calling 911 and saying that the door was locked. Then you have two maintenance workers that had found the couple's front door ajar. So that's interesting. Okay. And that's when so two maintenance workers said they found the couple's front door ajar when they went to the residence. And I'm gonna go back, okay? Because you got two maintenance workers that were there, saw the front door was ajar. Okay. You got a pest control worker that was at the residence Wednesday, noticed the couple were not home, and that was unusual. That worker contacted a security officer, right, in the subdivision, who went to the house and discovered the couple inside. Security officer, pest control. You have the pest control guy. But then you also have a man who described himself as a caretaker of the subdivision, calling 911, okay, which is the audio that's out here for everyone to hear now. And we're going to listen to that here in a second too, or shortly here too. He said that the door was locked and that he could not go inside. Then but he could see them through the window. Then you have two maintenance workers that found the front door ajar. So a lot of people came to the house. But one thing is for sure. We're hearing that the door was locked at that time, but now we're hearing from two maintenance workers saying that the front door was ajar. So what is it? Was it locked or ajar? Because let's be, was it closed or open? Because, okay, I understand that, some people are going to sit there and say, some people look at that and go, well, maybe the door was locked at first, but then maybe somebody else came in and was able to access or get in through the front door. But you see what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. You hear doors unlocked, you hear doors locked, and then now you hear two maintenance workers were there and saying that the front door was ajar. Then on top of that, if it was carbon monoxide poisoning here, if this had something to do with that, and the door is open, wouldn't that carbon monoxide leak out of the house? Wouldn't it? So again, some of about this just doesn't, like I said, the math ain't mathing there. Multiple people are saying one thing, right? Oh, and Alexis, and thank you. Maybe the guy but that's what's so confusing. Okay. Let's go back to that. So the guy that said the door was locked was a maintenance worker. So here it is. But that doesn't make any sense because if this man, because see, here it is. He describes himself as a caretaker. So it's a separate person. He said that the door was locked and he could not go inside, but he could peer through the window and see them both down, not moving, right? Then you have two separate maintenance workers saying something completely different, saying that the front door is ajar when they went to check on the residents. Now, I will say this though, too, depending on the location, depending on how big the house is and all that stuff, sure, there could be several doors. Maybe the maintenance workers only went to one door. That's possible. And then another worker went, or these two maintenance workers went to another door. That's possible. Plenty of doors in homes, right? So maybe they always go through the back door instead of the front door or whatever it may be. And they went to the back door is locked. So they were like, okay, it's locked. I'm just going to call 911, let them know what's going on, so on and so forth, right? But anyway, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, they're all part of it's foul play. I see, foul play is afoot. But it's just weird. But it is possible that maybe the two maintenance workers went to the front door. This other guy who describes himself as a caretaker went to the side door or the back door of the house, and that was locked, and that's where he found them in separate rooms. That's possible too, but didn't bother to go and check the front door. But I feel that as soon as you see two people perished or two people on the ground and they ain't moving, I'm running and I'm accessing or trying to check on every single door to try to get in there and help them out. Would you not? It's like they're not moving. I'm calling 911. Okay, back door ain't working. Ain't open. It's locked. I'm going to go through the front door and see if the front door is unlocked, right? You're going to do everything you can so you can go and save them, right? So that's weird. Like I said. Okay. Yes. Elementary, my dear Watson. Yes. So that part is a little weird to me. But let's continue on, though. This could be nothing. Okay. It could be a nothing burger, but it could be something too. Anything's possible. Okay. Santa Fe County deputies did not observe any signs of forced entry like we talked about before. They saw no one broke in. No one, used a crowbar. No one smashed a window to get in. Nothing of that sort. Okay. Where were they found? So deputies found Betsy's remains, okay, on the floor of a bathroom, according to the affidavit. A space heater was near her head, and an open prescription bottle was on the counter with pills scattered on the countertop. It was not immediately clear what kind of pills they were. I think that's very important to know, though. okay, what kind of pills they were. And of course, I'd want to know if she ingested any of those, if those same pills that were on the counter, strewn, scattered on the countertop, how many she took, if she took any, how many are they in her system? Then I would be checking if these pills are in the dog too. Okay. Then the other question is too, was this a pact? I don't know. Like I said, was this like a planned thing? That's possible too. Now, let me just say this really quick because I'm just gonna get this out because some people are taking this and running with this because Jay Eppy's list just came out. Yeah, Eppy, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, the Jeffrey, okay, the Jeff, okay, monster. I don't know, persona non grata. Okay, that mother lover. All right, we know that list is out. Actually, let me take that back. Hold up. A binder is out. How's that? A binder is out. Yeah. So what they want us to see, how's that, is out. So some people are thinking that maybe he knew and that he's some sort of like he's connected to this kind of thing. Man, Trump's name's on that doggone list too. So I mean, why would they do some pact of deletion if that makes any sense? For lack of a better term, why? You see what I'm saying? Real talk. I think something tragic happened here for sure, but I do not believe it has any connection. Okay, I don't believe that this has any connection to Epi. Okay, I'm just gonna get that right out the gate. We're just gonna address the elephant in the room. Okay, just so you know. So, and like I said, the binder is out, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Epi list. Oh, what are we gonna do?" And I'm like, you really think that's the full list? You really think that's the full list? You really think that's the full list? I guarantee you it's not. But that's just me. Okay, that's just me. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. I'm just stating what I believe. And it's cool. We can see the list, and I'll be like, yeah, been known that. We've been known that. Why? You know what I mean? Like, why is everybody so surprised? It's the same list we've all been talking about. Now it's just in a binder for everyone to see now. Okay. Let's move on, though. I don't think there's any connection to his passing to the list being dropped. That's just so you guys know. So hopefully they're doing their due diligence with the prescription bottle, making sure that if she ingested any of it, how much did she ingest? If it's in her system, if it's in the dog's system as well. Because like I said, I believe, because some of these, I got a dog that will eat anything. Okay. Will eat paper towels. Okay. And not give a damn. Right. Because everything's food. Right. So I could see a dog going, ooh, white M&Ms. You know what I'm saying? Nom, 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 nom. And then, of course, perishing as well. That is possible. Okay. I'm exaggerating about the paper towels, Brad. It was a joke. It was a joke. Okay. But I got a dog. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It'll eat anything. I swear to God. It'll eat it. Like, bro, really? You gonna eat? Really? Stop eating. You know what I mean? Stop it. But moving on. All of us dog owners, we have one. If we have more than just one dog, you at least have one of those dogs that will just eat anything, right? So I keep thinking that maybe that's the case here. Ate something that just fell on the ground, and that dog ate the wrong thing that day. Okay. Deputies suspected the heater could have fallen in the event the female abruptly fell to the ground. So a space heater, see, this is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. All right. So let's talk about this. There's a space heater that was near her head. So the space heater just drops from the sky. But this makes me think of like a movie like Final Destination. I'm sorry, this sounds weird, but just ride with me for a second, okay? You mean to tell me that if she was, let's just say, if she was to find her husband perished, right? She finds him in the mudroom, he's gone. She's devastated. It's terrible news. She walks into this other room, this bathroom, and suddenly out of nowhere, the space heater just drops on top of her head? That doesn't make any sense. It's like Final Destination stuff. So as she's sitting there getting her pills or doing whatever the pills are for, suddenly out of nowhere, this space heater just falls from the sky? Does that make sense? Let me repeat that. The heater could have fallen in the event the female abruptly fell to the ground. Unless they mean that this space heater was knocked over, right? As she fell to the ground, I could see that. But the way I hear it, it could have fallen in the event. Like the way I see it, it was like up on the wall and then fell. You see what I'm saying? So again, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because the space heaters I know, you plug them into a wall. They're electric. You plug them into a wall. They stand on wheels and you can wheel them around, right? And there's an on and off switch made of metal, right? So again, it's like, I feel like the report is making it more complicated than it actually needs to be. It's like the space heater was in the room, unless you got a space heater, like I said, put up on a wall, which again doesn't make any earthly sense to me. Okay, it just doesn't. But let's continue on. It's a little bit weird, but moving on. Okay, don't forget to hit that like button down below, guys. Okay, crush that subscribe button. Subscribe. We talking today. We gonna talk. Hey, we might talk about the epi stuff. We might later. Okay. But anyway, moving on. They found a dog, a German Shepherd, okay, about 10 to 15 feet from her in a closet in the bathroom. So this to me, all right, this to me echoes my theory. To me, I think he gobbled up whatever she gobbled up. This is just my theory. He ate the wrong M&Ms. He ate those white M&Ms. He thought they were treats, and he ate the wrong treats. And then boom, goes the dynamite. He goes into the closet and he perishes. That's what I believe what happened with this German Shepherd. That's what I believe. Okay? Because look, this is a massive home. Gorgeous home. Oh my God. Right? Shoot. But I can imagine there's many entrances to the place, right? Like I was talking about before. They're going on one side of the building because that's where they usually go and do what they need to do. You know what I mean? That's how they enter into the residence and all that. And they're like, the front door, this door's locked. Okay. Leave it be. But it looks like there's a lot of doors in that house. There's some doors in that house. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on. I will never do that again. I'm lying. I'll do that again soon. But moving on. Let's get into it. Okay? But let's move on. So as deputies cleared the home, they found Hackman in the house's mudroom. Okay? And the deputies believed he could have suddenly fallen. So both bodies showed obvious signs of demise. This is what the affidavit said. Okay, with his wife also showing signs of body decomposition, which is why they like the news. I think, okay, with all due respect to the media, all right, to the media. Hello. You know, sometimes they say things just to make it a little bit more dramatic, don't you think? Just a little bit. When they say mummification, what do you think everyone else does? What? Mummification? What? And then you click on it, right? Right? When they could just say body decomposition. Yeah. Just so you know. Like I said, they will put in some things just to get those clicks. And I understand it. We all gotta make the donuts, you feel me? But at the same time, though, it's just body decomposition. So mummification, mummification, okay, is basically them saying body decomposition. Okay. With all due respect. With all due respect. All right. So that means that they were gone for a while on that property, which is insane. But let's continue on. 2 dogs were also found alive on the property, which is also very telling. Okay. So one was in the bathroom near. See, that's crazy. See, look. Look, use your eyes to see. Look right here. My lovies, my good people. Sounds like, look, 2 dogs were also found alive on the property, according to the affidavit. One was in the bathroom near Betsy, and the other one was outside the home. What does that tell you guys? Come on, let's do the math. 2 plus 2 equals what? Let me just repeat what my theory. This literally echoes my theory. I truly believe he perished. She saw him. She freaked out. She ran into that room. She did what she did. This is just my theory. She took the pills. She was in a, of course, understandably, an emotional tornado of emotions and all that, and not thinking straight. She's grabbing whatever. She grabs the pills. They strewn all over the counter and some on the floor. The 2 dogs are with her, or maybe all 3 of them are with her. Okay? Because I'm sure they follow her everywhere she goes. They fall on the ground. One of the dog eats more of the pills that fall on the ground than the other ones. Because like I said, some dogs can just be vacuum cleaners. And that one passes away while Betsy passes away as well. While the other 2 are fine. The other one was found, one of the alive dogs was found in the bathroom with Betsy, and the other one was found outside. So it has nothing, I believe it has nothing to do with carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't. I believe something happened. She saw him. She found him. It did not put her in the right mental space. See what I'm saying? Because if it was carbon monoxide poisoning and that other dog was found in the bathroom with her, that dog would have been gone too. And the dog that was outside, that happened to be outside, would have been fine. But the fact that that dog was found inside that home, sitting, I'm sure, like they said, near Betsy, that paints a different breakdown for me. That paints a completely different scenario. Like I said, one of the dogs, I'm sure, one of those 3 dogs was a little bit more greedy than the other 2. And probably consumed maybe all, if not all, the pills that fell on the ground, or majority of the pills that fell on the ground. And then, of course, that dog lost his life as well. So again, interesting stuff, right? So, okay, so then that's the question. Was the dog contained in its kennel? Let's find out. Let's find out, because if that is true, because that's information I have yet to hear. Okay? That's something I'd like to know as well. Because maybe the dog just starved. Maybe the dog was just locked up and starved. That's possible too. But like I said, there was a dog right next to her. That dog's alive. There was another dog found outside. That dog's alive. But there was another dog that passed away, and it was in the closet in a closet in the bedroom or in the bathroom, 10 to 15 feet away from Betsy. So like I said, maybe there's more details here very soon, but let's continue. Like I said, just it's weird. It's weird, y'all. It's weird. Maybe that dog was locked up in a kennel. Maybe. Okay. Or maybe he just went into that kennel and laid down to perish. That's possible as well. But they say in this report, at least, that he went into a closet in a bathroom and he passed away. But let's continue on. So, what do we know about the investigation? The investigation continues in calling for a thorough search and investigation. Officials in the affidavit cited a number of oddities found at the residence: the unlocked front door, the space heater on the bathroom floor, the open pill bottle and scattered pills, the presence of 2 living dogs and a third that had perished, the fact that Hackman was in a separate room from Betsy, okay, and no signs of a gas leak. So, weird stuff. Weird stuff indeed. And of course, they say there's no sign of any type of foul play on their remains, but I got questions. After they found the couple, deputies searched the rest of the property and found nothing else, quote unquote, out of place. All other buildings on the property and the garage were locked, and there was no evidence that the house had been, quote unquote, rummaged through or items were taken from inside. So no, not a B&E, like a breaking and entering or anything like that, right? Which is very interesting. Even though there was no clear evidence of foul play, Mendoza said Thursday that investigators are not ruling anything out. Of course, Mendoza said investigators collected all the information, okay, on the pills found near Betsy. All right. That's obviously very important evidence at the scene. This is what they said on the Today Show. So, yes, we're looking at that specifically and other medications that were possibly in the residence. That is something of concern. Absolutely. When asked if it's known how long the couple had been gone, had perished for, Mendoza said on Today, it's very difficult to put a timeline together, even with the help of the Office of the medical investigator. Just based on their body and the evidence on the body, it appears several days, possibly even up to a couple of weeks. He said that the autopsy is key to the investigation, and a toxicology report could take up to 3 months or longer. Investigators are also putting together a timeline of the couple's final weeks, seeking to determine when they were last seen and spoken to and determine if they passed at the same time. All right. Of course, the family, of course, have said that, that he was loved and admired by millions around the world for his brilliant acting career. But to us, he was always just dad and grandpa. We miss him sorely and are devastated by the loss. And this is, of course, what was from his kids and his grandkid, if I'm correct, as well. But again, very, very interesting stuff. All right. Now we got some new information we're going to get into here in just a minute. So let's take a listen to this.
Looking at video of one of the last times Oscar winner Gene Hackman, a known recluse in recent years, was seen in public. As we're learning incredible new details this hour about the circumstances surrounding his death. His front door open, scattered pills on the bathroom countertop, 1 dog dead in the closet, 2 still alive on the property. 95-year-old Hackman and his wife, a 63-year-old classical pianist, their German Shepherd dog, all of them tonight mysteriously dead. The police right now are ruling out a carbon monoxide leak. This frantic 911 call captured the moment they were found.
Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Okay, my units are underway, okay?
So Josh Campbell is there outside Hackman's Santa Fe home right now with more of the stunning details surrounding these deaths.
I don't have a lot of fears. I have the normal fear of passing away. You know, I guess we all think about that.
Tonight, an investigation is underway into the death of 2-time Oscar winner Gene Hackman.
They're going to work this case. They're going to look at every aspect and try to figure out the exact cause. And I think the autopsy is going to be key. and the toxicology. But again, in my experience, that could take a while.
The 95-year-old Hollywood icon was found dead Wednesday inside his New Mexico home, along with his 65-year-old wife, Betsy Arakawa, and a dog, according to officials. Circumstances which the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office called suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation.
It's concerning that everyone in the house, including the dog, is deceased.
Deputies were called to Hackman's house on a welfare check request made by 2 maintenance workers, according to a search warrant.
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Inside, deputies found the couple's bodies in different rooms and say they appeared to have been there for some time. Hackman in a mudroom, his wife in a bathroom near a space heater, with an open prescription bottle on the counter and pills scattered around. Deputies say she had obvious signs of death and body decomposition. 2 healthy dogs were also found on the property, with a third found dead near Arakawa's body. Officials did not find any signs of forced entry, and the fire department and gas company didn't find any obvious signs of a gas leak or carbon monoxide.
Yeah. So again, weird that all these things, all these elements that we're looking at, all the evidence that they're strewing, that they're placing in front of us, to me, it is very weird. Yeah, absolutely strange. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty straightforward, but maybe there is foul play. Maybe there's not, I really think that if there are no signs of any kind of foul play happening, right? Like on their bodies, then something, I don't know. I guess I still lean on my theory right now. I'm still leaning on the theory that I have. And it could be, like I said, it could be completely wrong. But the theory I have is, I think she found him. She was devastated. And then she went into the room. That's what I think. And then that dog got real curious about those pills as well and perished. Now, the thing is there's a lot of different, I was just looking this up as we're watching this video. There's different reports. Some are saying kennel, some are saying closet. A lot of reports are saying different things, but it doesn't matter. What we need to know is if the kennel or the closet was locked or open. That's the most important part. Because if the dog was locked up in the kennel, that could give us a different scenario. It can give us a different situation. But if the kennel or the closet was wide open, that gives us another type of situation. You see what I'm saying? So, and then the other thing too is it was weeks, right? It was weeks. And I mean, and I don't know the dynamics of his family, okay? But for those of y'all who are still blessed to have your parents with you, like still on this planet with you, are you going weeks without talking to your parents at all? That's a little bit weird, right? Weeks without talking to your isn't that a little bit weird? Now, I'm not sitting, hold on. Now, hold up. I'm not trying to say anything like foul play. I'm not trying to call the family of the kids out. Not at all. But I just think that's a little bit weird that there's no weeks of not having conversations with. You're not calling them up and saying, hey, Pop, how's life? You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? It just seems a little bit weird. All right. What's up? What's up, Pops? What's good? How you been? How's New Mexico doing? How's Santa Fe? How you enjoying your time? Whatever it may be, right? It just seems a little bit weird that there's nobody reaching out for weeks. But interesting. But then again, we're all raised different, okay? I guess for me, it just seems weird that many weeks and there's no conversation with your dad or your mom. It just seems weird. I don't know. Because family over everything, right? Fast and Furious.
A sheriff's office spokesperson says the cause of death has not been confirmed, but it is not believed to be foul play.
And here in Santa Fe, Sheriff's Department officials here working behind me have yet another high-profile death case on their hands. Aaron, you and I covered at length the Alec Baldwin case, that fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust. This is the same investigative team that worked that case. Now, we did get some new information tonight from sheriff's officials. We're told that an autopsy has been conducted on both Hackman as well as his wife. They say that initial findings note no external trauma to either individual. They say that carbon monoxide toxicology reports have been requested. Finally, as sheriff's officials gather information, it's worth pointing out that this could take weeks or months before we know exactly what the cause of death is. That's because these medical examiner cases often take time in order to get to the root cause of these deaths. Yeah. Aaron?
Wow, and incredible. The same team, though, from the Alec Baldwin case on the Rust set. All right, thank you very much, Josh.
More now on our breaking news.
That's so interesting. This whole thing is very weird. Very, very intriguing. But what do you guys think so far? You know, what are your thoughts on this? You know, are you thinking, are you do you agree with, do you think I'm kind of on to something with my theory, or do you think I'm off? What do you think? Do you think that this is full on foul play or no? You know what I mean? Let me know in the comment, in the family chat. Let me know, right? But I mean, be more. Let me just say this. Yeah, why have a space heater in the bathroom? That is a good question, but I am kind of curious though too, because sometimes bathrooms be cold, man. You know what I mean? Have you ever put your bare booty on a cold toilet? It's on a cold toilet seat. That is not fun, right? Just saying. Maybe somebody runs cold, and they have a space heater in that specific bathroom. Anything's possible, right? I don't know. It's very interesting though, right? Let me get these super chats here really quick. Jane, thank you so much for the love. So many questions need to be answered. I agree. 100% I agree. Insane News. What I was wondering is, why didn't anyone check on them before? Exactly. Right. And much love to you too, Insane News. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, thank you, Jane, for the support as well. But yes, no one checked on them at all for weeks. That's it. Again, I understand everyone's family dynamic is different, right? But it is a bit weird that you would not have any correspondence with your loved ones at all for weeks. It is a little bit interesting. Doesn't mean that you're bad kids, guys. Okay, let me just hold on. Doesn't mean that you're bad kids. I'm just saying. And this is not a personal attack at anybody. Okay, but it is something that I'm just curious about. I'm just curious. No conversation. I don't know. That's just, like I said, interesting.
About the mysterious circumstances surrounding the deaths of legendary film actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and a dog that authorities have called suspicious, including the reported condition of Hackman's and his wife's bodies and what an affidavit calls mummification in both hands and feet. Joining us is our chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, and also Dr. Judy Melanek, forensic pathologist and author. John, what stands out to you about this? You've seen a lot of crime scenes.
Well, it's all that it tells us and all that it refuses to tell us. A lot of questions to answer, but you have Gene Hackman, who is in the mudroom off the kitchen by the back door, who appears to have taken a fall.
A cane was found nearby,
and a pair of sunglasses. It looks like he fell where he was and he dropped what he had. You have his wife, Betsy, in a bathroom on the other side of that floor, where there are pills scattered on the counter and a space heater that's been knocked over, and a dog in a kennel or a crate that's also deceased. And, it's the kind of thing where you could say murder-suicide, but it doesn't appear to have the trauma that would go with murder. You could say a joint suicide, but those things usually come with a somewhat of a ritual where people will take an overdose, get in bed together, or hold hands sitting down.
You could also have an accident and a suicide.
You could have an accident and somebody saying, well, I don't want to live without him.
My thought right there. I don't think an accident. I think he perished. She couldn't handle the idea of living without him, and then boom, she did what she did. That's what I think. Because again, because somebody said sounds staged, Tina. It could be that too, but at the same time, wouldn't they see at face value some sort of semblance of foul play, especially on their bodies, if there was something that was done where they were made to do something that they did not want to do? You see what I'm saying? There would clearly be some sort of sign of someone getting made to do something. And they would be saying, yes, we found, markings on their bodies, so on and so forth, that indicates something's going on, right? But I think that he passed, she reacted, in which, of course, you know how it is. You imagine, you find your loved one gone. This is your whole world. I could see something like that happening, right? And then having that reaction. So that's where I'm at, because there's no sign of any type of forced entry. There's no sign of any type of foul play so far that they've seen or have found on the bodies of these two so far. So I really think it's not an accident, and then she did this unthinkable thing to herself. I think that he fell, he perished. She may not have found him in time, and then grief, regret, all that stuff, sadness, hit her all at once, right? And then she did what she did. And then one of the dogs ate that stuff too. That's what I think. Or that dog was locked up because for God knows what reason, and then that dog starved. That's the only thing I can think of, right? That maybe that dog is a little bit more rambunctious and he was being locked up because he did something bad. I don't know, right? But it just seems interesting that he would be, or that dog would be gone too, right? But I think he ate some of the pills. That's what I think. But let's continue on.
But you have all those possibilities, and as Judy will tell us, there's a Latin saying in the medical examiner's office that says, this is where the dead come to teach the living. The bodies may tell us more than the scene. It's probably going to have to come together to come to one answer.
Oh yes, if you translate that, it's Dobius Nubius. I don't know it. I don't know what it is in Latin. Sorry guys. I know some of y'all got excited like, ooh, Pascal's going to speak Latin. No, I'm not. Let's move on.
Dr. Melinek, I mean, what does their bodies apparently being partially mummified? I mean, how long does that actually take? I guess if it's hands and feet, what does that actually mean?
So the extremities can mummify relatively quickly in a hot ambient environment. It's hard without knowing how warm it was or dry it was in the house, but they've clearly been dead for several days, and I'm saying days plural in order to get that kind of mummification. One of the ways of figuring this out, obviously, is from the scene investigation to find out when did they last pick up the mail, when did they last check in with relatives, phone calls, those kind of things, because people generally will communicate with others during the course of their time. But then you also can use other guides from the autopsy to determine the time of death, or at least estimate what we call the postmortem interval.
I don't want to get into too many details, but when the authorities use the term mummification or mummified, does that just mean liquid has, that it's just like skin and bones at that point, or what happens?
It means that the skin has dried. So what's happened is it's wrinkled up and it's dried. And it could be anything from kind of a leathery change all the way to the point that it's so hard that you can't even cut through it easily with a scalpel.
Okay. So in other words, like I said before, decomposition, some serious decomposition. And that's what they were finding on her hands and her feet. Okay. And I think it has to do with that space heater. I'm sure the space heater was rocking still, and she was right next to it. So there is a possibility that happened to her feet and her hands because she was right next to that space heater, right? But let's continue on. We got more. Uno momento, por favor. Where the hell is it? Oh, come on. One second, guys. Boom. There it is.
Death because he's a forensic analyst and certified death investigator. Joe Scott, I bet you've been toiling over these details most of the day. Can you put any thought to what might have happened just given the facts we know now?
In all of my experience, Ash, as a death investigator, I have never had two individuals be found dead inside of a structure without there being some kind of trauma element related to it, or some type of toxin, perhaps in the air, or either something that has been ingested. The idea that two individuals would just simultaneously fall over deceased it's a real head scratcher for a death investigator, for anybody in forensics, and not to mention the added piece to this that the canine is deceased.
That was odd, and two canines were alive. I wondered about the crate, meaning if the crate were closed, if it had been many days, that the canine would have expired from, thirst at the very least.
Yeah.
So the Hackman's daughter says that she thought it was definitely carbon monoxide poisoning, but the utility company said nothing looked awry. Some of the doors were slightly open, which made me wonder if that would negate the possibility of this happening. But also, would toxicology show this in an autopsy?
Yeah, it will, and that's important. We can't dismiss what the daughter is saying, okay? And it's all fine and good. The fire department rolled out, and utility people came out and checked. However, at autopsy at the state medical examiner's office, they're going to do a test that's referred to as a carboxyhemoglobin level. And you do it in fire deaths. You do it where you suspect that carbon monoxide asphyxiation has taken place. And when that occurs, it'll give you specific levels. There is always a certain amount of carbon monoxide in our environment, but did it reach lethal levels? And is that a causal effect? They'll also, remember, we have to think about that these pills were found there as well, Ash, and we don't know what the med was at this point in time, but I guarantee you this, that the individuals from the ME's office for the state collected that vial, and they're going to take those meds back with them. They're going to analyze them and take a look in kind of a broad spectrum toxicology report, what we call a standard panel, and they'll look for everything.
I only have a couple seconds left, but I'm really curious about the wording that was used. They were found mummified and bloated. Was that a mistake by somebody who just doesn't understand what mummification is? It didn't sit right with me.
No, the people in Santa Fe would know mummification, and it's not like Egyptian mummification. That's an arid climate, okay? Plus, we're in the wintertime. It's doubly absent any kind of humidity in the air out there. And so the skin, the tissue actually dries out significantly and with a lot more speed than it would, say, down here in the deep south where I live, or even up north where you have a lot of humidity. So that is certainly something of interest that they'll have to take a look at. And most importantly, we have to know when they were last seen alive and why was that front door open.
And I agree on that. I agree that there needs to be some sort of timeline here, because again, it just doesn't make any sense that 1 minute we see. I remember that, like, I think I saw it on Daily Mail that they were showing Gene Hackman and they showed a photo of him, like what he looked like before he passed, right? 95 years old. They were like, hey, this is once an A-list actor and, a highly decorated veteran actor. You won't believe who this is, right? And then you click on it, you go, oh my God, that's Gene Hackman. Wow. Right? But, he's 95 years old. I feel like, at 95, yeah. If I'm, lucky enough to live that long on this planet, yeah, I'm going to want to stay home. I'm going to hang out. I'm not going to be running around doing crazy stuff. I'm going to be in my home and live my life. Recluse? I wouldn't call that a recluse. I call that 95. Okay, I call that being 95. Like, yep, that's about on schedule. Yeah, right? But of course, yes, he was very, very thin. I agree. But of course, God only knows what he was going through, what he had to, what kind of diet he had to go on. Of course, over time you get ailments and stuff, right? But like I said, when they say, 95 and he was a recluse, I'm like, nope. That sounds he is right on the right sentence, right word, and in the right chapter, okay, of this book called life. All right. 95 and he's out here trying to run around, living his best life. His best life is being home, eating good, being around his loved ones, and living out the rest of it, the remainder of his days, right? Right? Yeah. For the two, it sounds right on cue. 95, then we all recluses then. Damn. Okay? If we lucky to be on this planet for 95 years, let's just be real. You doing the exact same thing. You staying home, you keeping it simple. You maybe make a few appearances out there in these streets, but no, 95, you on the right word, on the right sentence, in the right chapter, in the right moment, and in the right moment of this book called life. I don't call that recluse. I call that just 95. All right. But let's continue on. We got more.
What happened there to he and his wife? But joining me now is host of the Steve Wilkos Show, Steve Wilkos himself. Steve, good morning to you, sir. Thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So you're
very interesting that they got this guy in here. But let's take a listen.
no stranger to fame. Your talk show now in its 18th season. What was your reaction when you heard about the news of Hackman's passing this week?
Well, when I first heard about it, I kind of thought it was a little strange that, when I heard all, the dog dying and the wife and him, I actually thought at first maybe it was kind of a murder-suicide thing. That's my policeman brain went to immediately. But when I hear that the wife was in a mummification kind of state, my biggest question now really is, nobody's checking in on these people. I mean, I know he had a couple daughters. My mother's 84 years old. I don't think a day goes by that one of me or my siblings don't check in on my mom.
Thank you. Exactly what I just said. There's at least one family member, at least one of them, that's, reaching out and checking out and making sure, Ma, how you doing? Pop, what's good? You okay? How you doing? How's your day? Oh, okay, great. Just wanted to check in on you. I'll talk to you, in the next day or two. That kind of thing, right? There's always one member, or if you have other siblings, there's always, you know what I mean? Everyone's keeping tabs, right? But it's just weird that nothing at all. And by the way, his skin color, this man, Steve Wilkos' skin color is the same color as that cardigan sweater. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. That's a new one for me. Let's go.
So it's just kind of strange that so much time passed that that she was able to get into that form of mummification, and he obviously was still alive. So it's really strange, the circumstances of all this.
Yeah, and you say you kind of went into your police officer brain. You spent 12 years as a Chicago police officer here. What would you be focusing in on right now if you were over this investigation?
Well, it's strange again because we go into these houses and a lot of times people die alone and they do get in these states where they're very badly decomposed and. But a lot of times it's because they're by themselves and there's really nobody checking on them. Mm-hmm. But with this, you wonder, was it carbon monoxide? Was it all these things? And from what I'm hearing is it wasn't that. So it's just really strange circumstance.
Yeah.
They said the door was open, so there probably wasn't carbon monoxide. The fire department came. So I certainly don't think there was foul play involved. But sometimes when somebody loses a loved one, You see them dead. You know, you're like, Gene was 95 years old. Maybe he thought he couldn't go on without her, but it's really a mystery at this point.
Yeah, we'll have to see what comes next because this took a real turn yesterday. Steve, I know that's not usually the kind of questions we ask you, but I just wanted to pick your brain. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to join in.
Again, you hear my dogs, okay? Losing the doggone minds. Hey, tranquilo. Hey. They're losing their minds. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Tranquilo, por favor. Woo! Okay, let's move on. Let us move on, okay? Let us move on.
Let's now bring
in. See, but here's the thing. I'm still kind of curious as to why Steve Wilkos was brought in. I don't know. I don't know why. But that's you know, that is something interesting. But like I said, this is a very, very strange case. Let's take a look at what they're talking about on Today.
And joining us now, Santa Fe County Sheriff Adon Mendoza, who's leading this investigation, along with Santa Fe's Fire Chief Brian Moya, whose team was the first to arrive at Hackman's home. Good morning to both of you. Sheriff, let me start with you. Do you have any more insight this morning on what may have led to these deaths?
Right now, we don't. Of course, we executed the search warrant yesterday, starting on the evening of the 26th, all into yesterday afternoon. And one of our investigators attended the autopsy yesterday. We don't have more information. We're trying to put things together, put together a timeline when the decedents were last seen or spoken to. Of course, we understand that is a challenge because they were very private individuals in a private family. So we're trying to put all that information together right now.
The officers did conclude that the two had been deceased for some time. Any sense of the timeline? I mean, are we talking days? Are we talking weeks?
Yeah, so it's very difficult to put a timeline together, even with the help of the Office of the Medical Investigator, just based on their body and other evidence on the body. It appears several days, possibly even up to a couple of weeks.
Okay, which we of course have heard about. That it's several days to weeks that they were perished for. Okay, but one thing is for sure, I think they do talk about the carbon monoxide theory, right? And saying that they are not leaving that out right now, that's still on the table.
Insight in terms of the two of them, did it appear that they had passed at the same time or had one passed before the other?
I think that's very difficult to determine. I think it's going to be pretty close. There was no indication that anybody was moving about the house or doing anything different. So it's very hard to determine if they both passed at the same time or how close they passed together. We're trying to put that information together, and obviously with the assistance of the Office of the Medical Investigator. And I think the autopsy report is going to be key to this investigation.
Let me bring in the fire chief here.
I agree. It's going to take a minute for sure. We're going to have to wait for the autopsy for sure. This one's just frustrating because I feel like what we've been talking about is how it is going to be laid out. It's going to be exactly how my theory. I don't think that there's foul play here. I really don't. It's suspicious as hell. It's very weird for sure, but I don't see this being foul play. Not right now, at least.
Here is carbon monoxide poisoning or a gas leak. Has that been ruled out definitively, or is that still a potential cause here?
Yeah. Good morning. We at the time of the incident, we did not determine anything that was in the house with our meters that was concerning towards our guys doing the searches. So at the time of the incident, we did not find anything in the home at the time.
But there had been some time that had passed, it appears, from when they passed to when they were found. Does that complicate the question at all in terms of, if there had been some kind of leak, would it have dissipated perchance?
It possibly could. That was a home with natural gas in it, so it could have. yeah, there's a lot of unanswers there. When we arrived, we made sure that our people, as well as the sheriff, were safe, and there was nothing when we found. We also went back again yesterday to do another round of searches with the sheriff department, and we didn't find anything as well.
Again, nothing so far, but they're still going to be looking into stuff. I mean, let's keep it real. They're still going to be looking into stuff because it's not done. It's not over yet, right? If there is a presser today, I will definitely try to be here to see that. That's news to me, but that'll be good to hear what, if there is a presser where they give us some updates on what's going on and what happened here and what they've uncovered, because they may say, yep, this was carbon monoxide, or this was exactly what we just talked about before. Like I said, it's a million different things that could have happened. And again, it's interesting that front door was ajar, front door is open and all that. It's frustrating, right? But they said, yeah, like, Noah, you ain't wrong. Fire department said no monoxide, no leak at all, no leak. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's continue on.
I understand that this was a very large property. Can you give us a little more on the layout and were the bodies close proximity to each other or far apart?
That's a good question too.
So when my paramedics arrived, we found one of the deceased bodies in the living room area. In one of the areas of the house, and the other one was a little farther apart. Yes, it was a very large home. It took a while for all of us to locate.
Okay, took a while for them to locate both of the bodies. So it's not like something happened and then she'd say she found Gene Hackman, right? She found him in the mudroom, and then she just went into the bathroom that was right next to the closest to the mudroom. They said it took a while for them to find one of the bodies because it was so far apart from each other. So that is very telling. And also, it's a big space. It's a big home, So I keep wondering, how much, if it was carbon monoxide, which I don't think is carbon monoxide, but if it was, that would take a lot to take a lot to fill up that entire home with that kind of poisonous air, right? At least that's how I see it. But real quick, Insane News, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Welcome back, or welcome to the family, okay? And just like Insane News, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Support the channel if you can. Real quick before we continue and listen to the rest of this video, please hit that like button down below. Crush it, okay? Let's get it to like 8. Can we get it 800 likes? All right. A like don't cost a thing. It helps the show. It helps us grow. Okay. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching here for the first time or the 30th time or the 3,000th time and you still haven't hit that subscribe button. What's wrong with you? I'm kidding. Just hit that subscribe button down below and show some love. Okay. All right. Let's continue on though.
Sheriff, let me get back to you. The front door says open and not secure. That was in the search warrant affidavit. So was it just unlocked or was it ajar, wide open?
Well, the information that I gathered from the investigators was there were several doors that were unlocked at the residence. I believe the front door was closed but unlocked, unsecured. There was one door that was ajar, and that was towards the rear of the residence. That 2 of the dogs that survived were coming in and out of the residence. So, there's a little bit of conflicting stories, and based on emergency response and things, we're not sure if that door was open upon the arrival of emergency personnel, or if that, if it was open upon entry of emergency personnel. So that's another question and something that we just need to answer.
Sheriff, another fact is that was in the affidavit is that there was an opened prescription bottle, potentially with pills splayed out. I understand medical privacy. You're not at liberty to say what that prescription was, but let me just get at it a different way. Do you believe it may be possible that prescription could be related in any way to the deaths that we've seen here?
Bang.
That's obviously very important evidence at the scene. That information was collected. That information was passed to the office of the medical investigator to help them make a determination. So yes, that we're looking at that specifically, and other medications, of course, that were in the possibly in the residence. So that is something of concern.
Yeah, and
Okay, so I'm glad that they asked that question, right? Oh, okay. So there's a presser today at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Thank you, Jane, for that update. Just so you guys know. So we will hopefully be back by that time to check out that presser. And hopefully they stay on time. Hopefully it doesn't change. But thank you so much for that update, guys. But yeah, I think that's a very good question to ask. Is the prescription pills that were found near her remains, could they be a factor in this? Of course, they can't give out too much information about what the medication was, but they can at least say, like, yeah, that's a defining, we're looking into that, because that stuff, if you take too much of it, can hurt you, right? Or take you off this planet, right?
toxicology report, which will look at that. That is what's the timeline on that? I assume that will help answer some of these questions.
Based on my experience, a toxicology report could take some time. It could take up to 3 months, or even possibly longer. It just depends, how busy the laboratory is. But we're hoping it comes sooner than later, so we can answer some of these questions, and hopefully it'll help us in our investigation to determine and help OMI determine the manner and cause of death.
Yeah.
Now, I know that they could do like preliminary toxicology reports, which isn't like a very thorough, it's not like a super deep dive into everything. Like we saw it with why am I forgetting names right now? Why am I forgetting freaking names? But we've seen this before. Okay, we've seen that done before, where they'll have a preliminary, a toxicology report, and then that comes out for everybody, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm interested to see if thank you. That's literally, like, I don't know why his name slipped in my mind, but Riley Strain, or you see what I'm saying? So there are a lot of. We've seen this before, where there's like a preliminary, and then they wait for the full toxicology report, right? And then we get more in depth of exactly what was in their system before they passed, right? Or as they passed, right? So again, we've seen this before, where they do preliminary. So maybe they can do a preliminary autopsy here, so that we can get at least at the surface, okay, there was this in her system, and there was a lot of it in her system. Or it's like, yep, there was carbon monoxide in their system for sure. Without question, here it is. You know what I mean? So I'm interested, or it's like, yeah, there was carbon monoxide, but it wasn't so high to a point where it would be a lethal dose, right? Or to a lethal amount. I mean, those kind of things would help, okay, explain or give us more insight on what really actually happened here, right?
I mean, bottom line, is there a working theory here? Are you still confident there's no foul play? I mean, what's your sense of what may have happened?
I think I'm pretty confident that there is no foul play, just based on the lack of evidence of foul play. But we, of course, we're not ruling that out. Again, I think the autopsy results, the official results, are going to help us steer us in the right direction. That could change, obviously, and we're not ruling that out. This is an open investigation. It's a couple days old, and so we're putting together the timeline. We're trying to figure out all the evidence, and the autopsy is key, and that is going to take some time. So I hope a little bit of patience on the family's part, on everybody's part, so we can have some answers into these deaths.
Yeah, and really quick to Chief Moya, it was your paramedics who were first on the scene there. Is it still your belief, there was some wording in this search warrant affidavit that it looked as though the two may have just fallen? Is that still your belief?
Yeah, we when we arrived on scene, my paramedics did do an evaluation, and it was obvious. We didn't do any life-saving measures. So at the time, we didn't really need to get any closer due to the fact that it was an obvious sign of death.
It's so sad, guys. So sad. And I mean, you got two people that were married for so long, right? They were married for a long time. And to see something like this and how two people have lost their lives in this way is so sad. But again, I still just don't believe that it was simply he fell and then she fell. I don't think it's that. I really don't think that two people can have, like, God only knows he was 95 years old. So his heart gave out and then suddenly her heart gave out. It like I said, there had to have been something that happened here. Now, is it foul play? I truly don't think it's foul play. I don't. But I've been wrong millions of times before, and anything is possible. So, I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen here and what will be presented as time goes on. Because obviously there's a lot more here that they still need to do. And hopefully that toxicology report will come out. The autopsy will come out. Of course, there will be some sort of presser at some point this afternoon. I will try my best to be here for that so we can take a look and watch it as well. But again, it's definitely suspicious, but sometimes suspicious doesn't mean foul play. I know that Steven just said suspicious means foul play. Not all the time. It is suspicious. It is a bit weird. It is odd how they passed. It throws up red flags, and there's a lot of suspicious things going on. But there may not be foul play here. There just may not be foul play. It may just be a little bit weird, a little bit odd how they passed. It's odd, right? It definitely is very it's definitely thought-provoking, right? But again, doesn't automatically mean foul play. I mean, there's plenty of wild scenarios and wild situations where people have passed and there was no foul play, but it was done. They lost their lives in a very peculiar way. And I think that this is that same situation here, especially when you got the dog involved here too, right? It's just so odd to me, that part, right? But of course, we will see what happens here. We'll see what goes on here as they continue to do their investigation and autopsies and toxicologies and all that stuff come out. We will slowly but surely get more information as they continue their investigation. But there will be a presser today, this afternoon. Like I said, I'll try to get on here and talk about that and listen to it and see what else they have unearthed and what they have discovered. So hopefully I'll be back in time for that. But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Of course, if there's anything more, we will talk about it. But we talk about a lot of things on this channel. All right. So we're keeping our eyes on so many different cases. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on this one too. May he rest in peace. May she rest in peace as well. And their little dog as well. Okay. This is tragic. My thoughts and condolences go out to their family and friends and everybody who's affected by this whole tragic news. All right. But of course, when we get more information, we'll talk about it for sure. So I'll see you guys in a couple hours, okay? So please do me a favor before we get going. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you're following those platforms, all right? Make sure you're following. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. There's a lot of great stuff over there. The Pascal Show Clips. Make sure you're subscribed. Do yourself a favor and do that. All right? Subscribe. Okay, make sure those notification bells are set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because a lot of times it's random, at least as of late. All right, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, do not forget to check out PascalMerch.com. All right, guys? But we got to get going. I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. Have a great, if I don't see you, have a great Friday. Enjoy this weekend. Hopefully it's beautiful weather in your neck of the woods. But until then, we'll talk very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.